Breaking NFL news, the Carolina Panthers are already benching last year's number one overall pick, Bryce Young, just 2 weeks into the season. They are going to turn to Andy Dalton to start week 3 against the Raiders. And Bryce Young's been really bad. I literally put a video out last week how I thought Carolina could go 0-17 this year. 2 weeks in, though, you're pulling the trigger. I mean, there's panic moves, and then there's, well, this guy just sucks. We're going to move on. It's kind of what this feels like to me. Dave Canales, the first-year head coach, 2 weeks in, is making a quarterback change. I mean, I think Andy Dalton clearly gives you a better chance to win right now, but don't you have to exhaust every ounce of energy for Bryce Young this year? This Panthers team isn't going anywhere this year. Everyone knows that. Carolina knows that. So why not give Young a few more weeks, right? Now, I said it last week and I'll say it again. He looks like he's regressed, and that's for a guy who went 2-14 as a starter last year and is 0-2 this year. So I can't say I blame him. I guess I'm just saying it's pretty surprising that a season and 2 games into his career as a number one overall pick, it looks like he's done in Carolina. I mean, that is about as quick as it can be for a number one overall pick. I mean, this kind of puts a bow on one of the worst trades in professional sports history, does it not? That trade with the Bears, where they gave up the number 9 pick, 2 other first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, I think, and 1 more pick, I believe. I can't even remember it all now. To get Bryce Young when you could have drafted C.J. Stroud, it doesn't get much worse. It doesn't get much worse, which is why I'm surprised this quickly they're making a change. It's like you gave up all that in 2 games into year 2. You're punting on the kid. Wow. And that's coming from someone who's not a believer in Bryce Young, but even I would probably give him this entire season. They're not going to do that, though. Andy Dalton is going to start this week. Started 1 game last year, threw a couple of touchdowns. Wow. I did not see this coming this early. Could I have seen it like mid-late October if the Panthers were 0-6, 0-7? Yeah, that seems like a possibility there. But 2 weeks in, you're just, yeah, Bryce, we're done with you. Well, we took you number 1 out last year. We're done. That's amazing to me. Now, maybe he gets another shot later in the season. I think he's on a different team next year. I said that on my Overreactions video last week. I think he's on a new roster, but wow, that is a quick trigger by Dave Canales, to say the least. All right, coming up, I just filmed my NFL Week 2 Overreactions video, so that is still to come here on today's show. But I got a deal for you guys. If we get 3,000 subscribers by the end of week 3, so next Tuesday, if we're at 3,000, we're at like 2,520 right now, so less than 500 away, I will give 1 subscriber $30. Straight to you, $30 for 3,000 subscribers. So all you got to do is subscribe, support our content, give us a watch with our NFL and college football videos on a daily basis. So if you want a chance to win $30, all you got to do is hit that sub button. And coming up next, my 5 overreactions in addition to this news in NFL Week 2. All right, overreaction number 1. I think this is Doug Pederson's last year in Jacksonville unless things change quickly. He started to get under fire last year when the Jags collapsed. I think they were 8-4, finished 9-8, and missed the playoffs. And you watch them play, and the Jags have no identity as a team, especially on offense. You paid Trevor Lawrence all this money. He looks all over the place. He doesn't look like somebody who's taken a step forward. Travis Etienne can't seem to get things going consistently. The defense is kind of soft in certain spots. I just watch them, and I'm just like, I see there's a lot of individual talent, but where's the consistency? You look at Doug Pederson's career, he's kind of the Joe Flacco of coaches, where Joe Flacco, pretty good career, right? But really never was a top 5 and rarely was a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. But he had 1 awesome season and 1 crazy playoff run, and they won a Super Bowl. It's kind of Doug Pederson. He's been a head coach, I think, for 7 years now. He has 1 10-win season. It was the year they won the Super Bowl. has a bunch of 9-win seasons, but I think the narrative on him is like, oh, I mean, he's a high-level playoff coach. He's not really, though. I mean, he snuck in at 9-7 multiple times, 9-8 with the Jags a couple of years ago. I'm not saying he's a bad coach. I just don't think he's a great coach. And when you pay Trevor Lawrence, this relationship needs to grow and improve. And through 2 games, it seems kind of mediocre as an organization. So I think he's in trouble. If they miss the playoffs this year, I think they go in a new direction. Maybe they hire Klint Kubiak. NFL overreaction number 2. The Saints are for real, and Derek Carr looks like a top 10 quarterback. I don't even know if that's an overreaction. I think that's just where we're at through 2 weeks. Klint Kubiak, and I said it yesterday, and I'll say it again, he looks like the most significant offseason acquisition, player or coach, through 2 weeks this year. They scored 47 points against the Panthers, 44 against Dallas. The Cowboys, in theory, should be pretty good on defense this year. Now, we'll see how it ages with Mike Zimmer. I don't care who you're playing, though, in the NFL. You score 40-plus points. That's like scoring 60 at the college level. Like Klint Kubiak, who is the son of Gary Kubiak and obviously was under the Shanahans last year. All those guys are intertwined. He's going to be a head coach next year. If Derek Carr plays at this level all year, someone's going to hire this guy to be their head coach. I don't know who that team would be right now, obviously. Maybe Jacksonville, like I mentioned. I don't know. But this is a whole new offense, a lot of pre-snap motion. Derek Carr looks comfortable. He's throwing bombs to Rashid Shaheed. Alvin Kamara scoring 4 touchdowns. I feel like every year now we think this is the year Alvin Kamara falls off a cliff, and he doesn't. The Saints are good, man. I think the Saints and Bucs is going to be a fun 2-team race in the NFC South. We'll see if Atlanta can join that race. A win tonight would go a long way. But that division looks better than expected in New Orleans. We know they're good on defense with Dennis Allen running that side of the ball, but the offense looks legitimate, and if that's the case, they're a playoff team because we know the defense is good. All right, NFL overreaction number 3. The Jets have no choice but to give Haason Reddick what he wants financially. I know that kind of sounds a little ridiculous on the surface, but Jermaine Johnson tore his Achilles yesterday, and you don't have any high leverage or high level edge rushers now. Obviously, you let Bryce Huff go to trade for Haason Reddick. What are you going to do? I mean, this is a critical, pivotal year for the Jets franchise. Are you just not going to have edge rushers that can play? I'm not saying you should make Haason Reddick the highest paid pass rusher in the NFL or anything, but through 2 weeks, he's gained some pretty good leverage. Week 1, you just did not make any plays against the 49ers on defense. Week 2, your best pass rusher on the edge tears his Achilles. I mean, what are you going to do? You got to pay the guy. Like, you traded for him. You knew he wanted a new deal. You haven't come to an agreement. You better come to one soon. Otherwise, it could be a long year for the Jets. I mean, they barely beat Tennessee yesterday. A lot of primetime games coming up. You got to get this figured out, and you're losing leverage and you're losing it fast. I think you got to get Haason Reddick in the building. Number 4, the Bears are going to get Caleb Williams killed if they don't improve their offensive line. I don't know if that means changing personnel. I don't know if that means trying to sign someone or trade for somebody. I don't know if it's schematically. I think it's all an issue. Their interior has been problematic all year. Darnell Wright got whipped by the Texans on Sunday Night Football, a guy they drafted in the top 10 last year who's been pretty good but was not good last night. Caleb Williams has not been great early, don't get me wrong. The downfield throwing in particular, he's been all over the place. But if you can't run the ball and you can't protect this guy, it's going to be a long year for that offense. And Shane Waldron and company have got to find some solutions because he took an absolute beating. The Texans had 36 individual pressures from 10 different players on Sunday Night Football. I mean, that's got to be close to a record. Like, the scheme looks out of whack. They're missing assignments. They're asking Cole Kmet, their tight end, to come across the formation and one-on-one block Will Anderson. I mean, that's an unreasonable ask. They've got to clean that stuff up. I don't know if you go heavier personnel usage to get some extra big bodies up there, but you got to try something because through 2 games, this offensive line, which was a problem under Justin Fields, actually looks like it kind of worse through 2 weeks. And then my final overreaction here. I think Sam Darnold's going to be the next Baker Mayfield and Geno Smith. And what I mean by that is I think he's going to play well enough this year where he's going to have a pretty strong market that next year. I expect him to get a lot of money. I think Sam Darnold will sign a nice contract next year. Now, maybe Minnesota keeps him. Maybe they give him like a 1-year, $25 million deal, $30 million, and let JJ sit for another year. Who knows? Be patient in that scenario. They might do that. Or a team like the Raiders or the Giants. I mean, there's always teams who need quarterbacks. There's a reason the Geno Smiths of the world, the Baker Mayfields, they stick around and they get another chance. And Darnold's gotten his chance, and he's thriving under Kevin O'Connell. I mean, you got to figure that 1 year under Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco last year paid dividends for his career. Now he looks very comfortable in a Shanahan type of scheme with O'Connell. He's been impressive. And the Vikings, most people thought were the worst team in the NFC North coming into this year. That has been anything but the truth up to this point in the season. So good for Sam Darnold. If he keeps playing like this, he's going to make a lot of money. Probably in that mid-tier QB market, which is like $30-35 million per year. And how things quickly can change, or how quickly things can change in the NFL, because it felt like his career was close to being over, at least as a starter. And now he's proven not only is he a high-level backup, he's for sure a starter in this league. There's 32 of these jobs. He's a top 32 guy. Might end up being a top 20 guy if he keeps playing like this. And if you're the 20th best quarterback in the NFL, you're going to make a good amount of money in this league. So he looks good early. The deep ball to Justin Jefferson yesterday was a thing of beauty. And Kevin O'Connell can coach, man. He's a hell of a play caller. There you have it. Overreaction Monday in the books. Let me know in the comments, who do you got tonight, Eagles or Falcons? I like the Eagles to win and to cover. I had a rough betting week in the NFL, by the way. We'll see if I can bounce back next week. But I like Philly tonight. And tomorrow we'll have our rapid reaction to the entire Week 2 slate. So be sure to subscribe and join us for that. And again, if we hit 3,000 subscribers on this channel by next Tuesday, someone will win $30. So go ahead and subscribe for daily NFL and college football content.